Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
A few minutes, but it's the top of the hour. Thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. In case you have just joined, welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra. We are here every weekday, Monday to Friday, with a continuation of Good Morning Uganda. Now, this morning, I'm going to be discussing something with my guest that I feel is very important as well, because we want to discuss access to justice for women in criminal justice system. Now, when you look at our population, 52% are women. But at one time, someone once said that anybody is a potential prisoner. Not to say that all that are in prisons are innocent, neither to say all that are there are guilty. You have those on remand, because our courts, our laws are very clear. Someone is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a competent court. Now, when someone is still undergoing trial, they're only suspects. When someone is on remand, they're not convicts. But not to say that whoever has been convicted indeed did commit the offense. We've had some who come out then later testify. My guest will tell you I've interviewed someone who was on death row, but it was discovered the person was alive. Not to doubt our judicial system, but these do happen. Now, it is more worse when it is a woman that has been arrested, to be gender sensitive. They're vulnerable. Some come with their children, some give birth in prison. Not to say they conceived in prison, but they could be arrested when they're pregnant. Some they're arrested and they have to go along with their children. The number of vulnerabilities that they go through as women, and this morning we choose to look at that. Now, we also know very well that prisons in Uganda have a capacity of accommodating around 21,000 inmates. As we speak today, we are having a population of 76,045. So that means our prisons are almost accommodating 4 times of what their capacity is meant to accommodate. Join me, welcome Frank Baine, who happens to be the spokesperson of Uganda Prison Service. Frank, good morning.
Good morning, Robert, and good morning, dear viewers of UBC TV. And thank you for always inspiring Uganda and giving the right information. I'm glad this morning to be here to talk about that vulnerable group, as you've said, the women behind bars. Rightly so, while the population of women is 52% national population, in the prison, the female population is 4%. Actually, by this morning, they were 3,554. Because, of course, the number looks small, but they have challenging problems as we shall go along. And of course, you know, being a patrilineal society, so most of the challenges of survival go to men. That's why 96% of the population of prisoners become they're the ones who go to prison. And like I have said this morning, we have 76,045 inmates. Out of those, 52% are convicts, 48% are still on remand. So that's about 36,000 people on remand. And of course, that number is so
this
high.
time we have more convicts?
Yeah, we have more convicts, but it doesn't change much because
that's something to
you know programs
for.
like pre-bargaining have been game changers into these things, and even the increase on the number of the judges and magistrates has also helped a bit. But we still need to do more to do away with case backlog.
You know why that excites me is because when a person is on remand,
Yeah.
they are not entitled to rehabilitation programs.
No, you
Yet
can't-
when they are convicted, they undergo rehabilitation programs.
That's
And
correct.
one of the things we are doing very well in Uganda is our reoffending rate.
Yeah.
Someone who has gone through these programs, it's very,
Actually, we have gone down now to 14%.
only 14
Yeah.
out of 100 return that they have committed crimes.
Yes.
Now, that said, let's first also understand what are some of the leading causes of these women behind bars.
Well, incidentally, the women, I will even use the example of only this week. I think I have seen in about 5 cases, a woman killed and buried her children in the house. But this morning it was part of the news. The other one, there is one who killed the stepchild. The other one kidnapped somebody in Kayunga. So incidentally, the majority of women commit what we call crimes of passion. And most of those crimes are related to their families also.
Love
And,
gone sour.
and that's why when you
Husband
check,
gotten another.
you find that the majority are on murder, followed by assault, then those other related things. Of course, some sometimes work together with men to commit robbery and the like, but these crimes of passion take precedence in terms of what the women are doing, what brings them to prison. And like you Aubrey said, when you have committed or are ready to have committed an offense, whether you are pregnant, whether you're pregnant or not, they will bring you and you will end up in prison. And the law also provides that in case a mother has committed an offense and has a child who is less than 1.5 years, the mother is at liberty to move with the child to the prison. Actually, the child should be with the mother in the prison, and the prisoners must manage this child. Therefore, even the one who comes pregnant, it is the responsibility of prisoners to make sure that this woman is managed and delivers like any other woman outside. And which thing we are able doing actually.
Now, this complicates things, and I think our viewer, you're seeing the reason why we find this very important. Now, you've said the law, if a child is
Less than one and a half years.
1.5.
Yeah, it's allowed that is kept to
But
the
the
mother
mother-
because it is believed that this child is still suckling. And the child should not miss the mother's breast milk simply because the mother has committed an offense.
If a woman gives birth, she came when she's pregnant, knowingly or unknowingly, this child, of course, must be with the mother.
Yes.
Now, this is very emotional.
Actually,
Given the
by
situation.
today we have 247 children with their mothers in the prison.
How is this done then? Because she's kept in a certain place.
Yeah. Those are the, of
The
course.
child
Yeah.
committed no offense.
No, but
How do you do this?
But the child requires the comfort of the mother than anything. Like I told you, most of these women have committed crimes of passion. Maybe they have killed their husbands, or they have killed their co. Maybe.
And in Africa,
Now,
therefore, if you've killed our son,
Then-
sometimes the interest in your child may cease.
the displacement of anger would quickly go to the child, and who would
Mama
care?
wachino yatta mutabani waffe.
So the women, even as women, are more comfortable that even if they are in the difficulties, they prefer to have their children. Actually, one of the challenges we also have is that the law says when the woman has delivered in prison or came with a child, the moment that child clocks 1.5 years, the relatives should come and take the what? The child. But there's a woman who will tell you that unless you want me to commit suicide, you cannot take my child away from me to back where I came from because I know what is there. Then you have to negotiate with this woman. Of course, we have NGOs like Mama Watoto who come to keep these children, but some women are cagey. And that's how we started the project of the kindergarten, that as we are negotiating our way out to make sure this child get out of the prison, when this child has reached 1.5 years, should not spend the day in the prison looking at these prisoners. Should have a separate room with a different social worker, so that this child does not psychologically, you know what we print from 0 to 10 is what impacts our life for the rest of the time. So, but it's a challenge. The mothers, there is no mother who would feel comfortable that the child has been taken away. Even at 1.5, even at 2 years, they feel they are vulnerable. Those who is, of course, these NGOs, with them, the good thing is that they allow that these children will be taken to school, then they will be bringing these children back to see their parents, their mothers. And you know what happens? The law is a bit, society is a bit unfair to the women. That when a woman goes to prison, the man marries another woman. And they never come to see this woman. Actually, by the way, out of 10 mothers, only one is visited by the husband. The 9, the husband forgets. The moment the other one goes to prison, that's a gone case. The man marries another woman, starts a new life, and this one becomes...
That's how tired people are of their partners.
So, because you see, what is interesting is that out of 10 men who are married and have gone to prison, 9 are visited by their wives. Why? Because the men are the breadwinners.
Even in prison, yes.
Yeah. 2, this woman is in his house. He's on his land. So you can, if you don't come, then you are sure that as soon as he comes out, he will chase you. So the women are obliged to come and visit their husbands.
Just not out of love that the women,
it's not.
I can credit them
it's
to
out
be very...
of the fear of the consequences of not visiting.
Oh!
But now, such a thing does not affect men. Because a man, he has his land, he has his house. Why should he be running to the prison to look for the other one? Who could have even made a mistake, because the crime, to fight what the man was doing? For example, if the man had another child from out and the woman has killed the child, why would this man be interested in going to visit her? So those are some of the unique challenges that actually affect the women while in prison. We also find a very big problem that, you know, while men, when they are in prison, they can sell their land, they can apply for bail. Women find it very difficult to apply for bail because a woman, I can't imagine that if Chirabu, your wife, was arrested, God forbid, was in prison, she can even suggest to you that, you know, the other 2 plots of land we have, you sell one and I get bail. But for you, that's the first thing you will tell her. If it is you inside, you say, you go and sell the other plot and please bring the money, then we process my release. But your wife cannot tell you the same story about the same property. And that is a big challenge. That means with them, they stay longer in the prison. That means they don't have, their contact with the outside world is under challenge, because they become almost outcasts as soon, even by the way they are born. Because you can imagine if your sister was alleged, let's say your sister is alleged to have killed the stepchild, how easy would it be for you to walk to the prison to see your sister? So it ends up, there is that discrimination, and it causes stigmatization, and that's why we even had a regional conference in Africa, the plight of women behind bars, because it's very unique. And of course, with Africa, why Africa? Our cultural norms in Africa seem to be in line, almost the same. We live a patrilineal kind of belief that a man is the most important person, is the one who has the property, is the one has the say. I mean, he can have as many, you know, those other things. So and then he's the one who generates polygamy. Then after generating polygamy, then the consequences of polygamy go to the woman. And that's why those are some of the things we are discussing. Looking at now, some of these laws and judges must actually also understand. You can imagine if
so do you want to say you must have gender sensitive?
Yeah.
You know,
because you can imagine
when you say crime is a crime.
Yeah, a crime
gender
is a crime.
should not apply here.
But you can imagine, even if you are a married judge and they brought you that this woman killed the husband, how do you feel? I can see you are becoming sentimental. Yes, but we are looking, that's why we are looking at, and by the way, most of the biggest problems, like I said, because why they are crimes of passion, we normally look at the act release, the end point, but much of their crimes of passion have come as a result of provocation. I always tell people,
Frank, I see you're becoming...
No. I'm trying to explain that when you see people fighting on the street,
yes,
For example, if you find a man and a woman fighting on the street, naturally everybody will think that the man is a brute, doesn't care. But in the actual sense, there is no normal man that would go and fight on the street unless he has been what? Provoked. And that's why I'm saying that in a similar way, while society condemns the man who fights in public, not knowing the level of provocation underneath, even society sometimes turns a blind eye of how much provocation this woman has gone through for the crime to commit. Like some of these people who have killed their husbands. You'll find that this man has been fighting this woman every day. But the day she says, enough is enough, maybe she has
just been battered.
Yeah, even me are pushing. This man lands badly and he dies. Then
Sometimes he's even drunk. Hits the head on something and cannot survive.
But the woman has committed what? Murder. Without looking at the circumstances leading to this. And that's why it becomes very important that when we are analyzing their access to justice of this group, we need to be very sensitive, as you have said, to, I think we need to dig deeper to the circumstances leading to this offense, not necessarily the facts around the committing the offense.
Because it is true, we have whatever was used, this, so you committed. Menswear was there, then whatever, so you did. And therefore,
but then what is the history? What is the history? That's why we talk about gender-based violence. Now, the extreme end of gender-based violence is for women to lose themselves and end up committing a crime they should not have genuinely committed, but it was extreme provocation. But unfortunately, the law, in consideration, that one does not come. You will find that some of these, like I was looking at this woman who buried her own children, killed and buried them. Okay, she's saying that the ghost of Naruwa in Jinja is the one which killed and did that. But you might find that this woman was subjected to some very many inhuman conditions that she became mental. Now, and because maybe the source of the problem could have been these children, something moved. If she's not mentally ill, it means that there must have been a push that made her a woman, to make a woman to kill her own children and bury them. You see, that becomes very unique. And that's why it is very touching that when we talk about matters of women, they have very many challenges. Now, they have their natural situations. Women must have their monthly periods. So that is a cost which must be made. Now, and when you look at it, when you have women, and the women who have babies, necessarily they are not, you can't mix them with the one who don't have the babies. You know how the children behave. Now, too, because these people have also not been picked from the markets, I mean from the churches and mosques, you can imagine what a woman goes through to protect this kid from this sea of purportedly wrongdoers. They are murderers, they are thieves, they are...
Then you have a kid amidst.
Now we have this kid. Now, what is the future of this kid? Then, the bearing of the consequences of imprisonment of a woman on the children is about 10 times more than the man. A man will go to prison and come out, and nobody will blame the children that the man went to prison. But the moment the woman goes to prison, everybody will be pointing fingers. You see those ones. Can you have a child that come out of her, of that woman who went to prison? So it extends to the children. And that's why we need to understand that, look, women are human beings. Two, our society, even if it is good in one way that most of the things that affect women stop in society. That's why they are very few. And two, they also don't make many risks like men do the risks. But we must understand that these women should be protected.
Well, I must go for a break. I'm still with the spokesperson of the Uganda Prison Services, Frank Baine, and we are looking at access to justice for women in the judicial system, and more so, to be specific now, we want to look at those that are behind bars, more so those that are in prisons. Because, you know, police, one can still get bail, but those that are in prisons, either on remand or those that have been convicted and they're serving their sentences. I'll return shortly. Keep it with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
In Bushenyi district, we run a number of programs ranging from service delivery to wealth creation. We have the Presidential Initiative on Wealth Creation, a MUGA program, where we have 34 circles that have been given funds for the last 2 years, of which each circle received 33 million and only 2 managed to receive 50 million each. These funds have enabled the different categories of our population to engage into business-related activities, and we can see their incomes get better. Some of them are into tailoring, others into mechanics, into carpentry, hairdressing, or mention it. And so far, they are running their enterprises smoothly.
UBC, the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break. Thank you so much for keeping with us here on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabonyonyitono, in case you have just joined, and I have the prison's spokesperson, Uganda Prison Service spokesperson, Frank Baine, with whom we are looking at the right to justice for women in detention or behind bars, and definitely it is in prisons. Now, there are a number of challenges that inmates in our prisons face, but then the women face more challenges than their male inmates. The high levels of vulnerability, there are so many challenges they undergo. Now, Frank, I want to look at something very interesting that usually happens. That is the prerogative of mercy.
Yeah.
Having seen the challenge that the women go through, have they benefited from this? Is there a special consideration?
Well, that's a very wonderful question. Yes. what has been going on is that every year Uganda Prison Service submits names and profiles of those prisoners who qualify for pardon. And maybe to go behind a bit for the viewers to understand, the prerogative of mercy is provided for in our constitution, that once in a while, the president, out of goodwill and compassion, can always forgive some prisoners. Either reduce their sentence or forgive the sentence completely. But there's also a component that he can also decide and sign a death warrant, and the person is hanged in 72 hours. That's part of the package of the pardon. Now, to come to the categories of women who normally qualify for pardon, we have, of course, all women on death row that have completed the appeal process. Those ones have to be on the list. All the women who have done capital offenses but are remaining with less than 6 months of their sentence.
You've served 5 years.
No, not actually served 20 years. Out of 20 years, you have served already 18.
Yes.
So you are
6 months remaining to go out.
But even 1 day out of prison is good enough.
I'm told.
Then we have women who are pregnant. The pregnant women, especially the minor offenders. Women who are pregnant, women who are mothers in prison. Those ones are also catered for. Then the women who are terminally sick, they are also considered. And majorly, those ones, we are looking at the pet offenders. Then the women who are elderly. Because we have women who are above 70 years in the prison there. And of course, maybe the issue is land, maybe the issue is still those murder things we talk about. So those are the considered categories. If I go by the last pardon, which saw about 200 people get pardoned, I think women were 47, which makes it slightly above 30%. So to answer you, I think yes, women are being considered in pardon, although the numbers could still go high, and it is acceptable. Like I told you, that because women have committed crimes of passion, and therefore, if you go to investigate, there have been a very high level of provocation. And that's why I think we need a lot of compassion to them. But the other biggest challenge is that even when these people have gotten pardon, somewhere to go out is one of the biggest challenges. If the woman committed an offense at her husband's place, she can't go back. You know our cultures that when a woman has got married, even her bed is removed from the room where she was staying. So she cannot even go back to her parents. So you find that she has actually have nowhere to go. One of the deliberations we are trying to find out for this conference is that can we have a halfway home? Where from prison these women who have nowhere to go can be kept, they work, earn some living, so that they can get something, maybe like land or some capital
to integrate them,
to mitigate their landing on integration. Or prisons should know that this is a government, of course, and prisons should know that these are a vulnerable group, that there should be an enabling package for a female prisoner who has finished her sentence. Because she can't go, that's why I'm telling you, me, if I go to prison, the day I leave prison, I will walk home.
And you'll be welcomed.
And I will be welcomed, and they will even slaughter that our son has come back. But the woman cannot get that reception. Especially if the crime is related to an injurious situation around her husband's family. So that is one of the areas we are looking at, the vulnerability of these women. That's how some of them end up now, they can't go home, they can't go anywhere, they find themselves in these awkward places, doing awkward jobs, and they are easily exploited.
Maybe sometime end up
then in the process, they end up going back into the prison. Not because they would have gone back, but because they are powerless, because they are at a disadvantage any time. And even by the way, the stigmatization of a woman who has been in prison, nobody wants anybody close to them. They don't want to associate with them. Yet when men come from the prison, they come out heroes. I have seen people who are in prisons, like in America, when they are coming, they even put carpets and they are people line from the airport, they are welcoming an ex-prisoner. I wish to see how that one being done for a woman, but it hasn't come. Maybe when it comes, I will still be living to not see it.
Now, a quick one. You know, you talked about the prerogative of mercy, where even His Excellency can sign for that person to be hanged, because for Uganda, we only have one killing method so far. I hope I've used the
hanging.
It is hanging. Others have so many in other countries. But we last hanged, our gallows were last busy in 1999. And if I remember very well, I think the outstanding person there was Jimmy Sebirumbi. Someone I think was of UPC and all that. Now, for the women, of course, they have not been busy for a long time. Neither do I want them to be busy. But are there exceptionals, or can a woman also be hanged?
Actually, as we are talking right now, 2 women are on a death row right now. But the appeal process is on. They haven't completed. But of course, if they sign, it happens. In my few records, which may not be very accurate, at least 2 women have been hanged since the prison system started. I think one was hanged in 1957. Then another one was hanged around 73, 74. We have had only 2 women face the gallows. But that one doesn't mean that they are exempt. They are not exempt, except that they are normally fewer. And when you look at the proportional percentage, still, you can really understand.
Yes. But are those things still working? Because many times when you have very complicated crimes, His Excellency talks about, I think I should rethink, I think I should rethink.
We are having a moratorium. We're having a moratorium about the death penalty because...
Then the Susan Chigura case?
Of course, the Susan Chigura case changed one thing, that death penalty should not be mandatory for a person who has lost a capital offense. But it should be the discretion of the judge according to the circumstances of the case. That's why in our law books, we still have death penalty. But who gets the death penalty changed. Because now the determination is the judge, not the law. Because by that time it was that if you lost a capital offense, the beginning was this sentence. And that's why all those cases which had been there, they were taken back for mitigation, and very many people went off. Then too, as a way of encouraging the state to do what it's supposed to do, he said when a person is on death penalty and has completed the appeal process, but for 3 years, the state has not done its work of hanging this person, then this person shouldn't be hanged anyway. Because if this person was that dangerous, the state should have acted within those 3 years.
Immediately the appeal process is done.
So now that's where they say that then automatically this sentence is commuted to
life imprisonment.
Life imprisonment. But the life imprisonment of commuting now takes it to 20 years. When you are sentenced to life imprisonment from court, you stay in prison for the rest of your life. But if your sentence has been commuted from death to life, then you are supposed to serve 20 years without remission. Because if they said, we are not going to hang you, but you will die in prison, then they have not forgiven you anything. So, and that's why it is that we need to understand. That is in respect of the sentence being commuted from the other one according to the judgment. So, but if the court, according to the sentencing guideline, if court says you are in prison for life, then you are in prison for life until there is an appeal and an amendment of...
Like this brother of ours who now went for appeal. That stubborn character. Well, I enjoyed following the court proceedings.
Yes.
Most so when he said, and just a little bit, can a prisoner be busy in Luzira and cannot attend court? You see, Kasoro was very clear. He told the judge he has work to do, he will be busy, and asked for them to reschedule.
First of all, it's a prisoner's liberty to choose to go to court or not to go to court.
Oh.
Yes. But of course, if it becomes rampant, then the prisoners must insist that this person goes to what? To court. But 1 or 2 times, for his personal reasons, he could be in the mood of he doesn't want to see anybody and he wants to remain. They have done it, and we have obliged it, because court is a way of letting a person go out. So if the person is choosing not to go to court, so sometimes you give them the benefit of doubt for at least a moment, because the law says a prisoner who refuses to go to court two times consecutively, the third time you should force him to prison. I mean to
court. Yes.
Yes, but the first 2 times takes a benefit of doubt.
Afand, we must move out of here. Your parting shot, we get out.
The parting shot is that these women we are talking about, our sisters, our mothers, our grandmothers, the challenges they face in society follow them in the prison. So I think if the legislators can understand the plight of women in prison, if we, the workers, can understand the plight of women, if you, the media, can understand the plight of women, we would be able to do a better job. Because you know, a woman represents a home. It's not all about her. It's about the children, it's about the home, and it's about the nation. No wonder we call our country a mother, our motherland. So if we want the best country, we must want our mothers and sisters well treated, because what goes out of them is a product of how they are being treated. And I think if we can consistently, you know, some of these things are about debating, is about adjusting our cultures. If we can do that, I think we are not doing badly so far. That's why we have women in schools, we have women in skilling, you know, so that they are empowered, women empowerment. And let's go back to the women emancipation when we talk about this 30% affirmative action. I remember this Makerere 0.6%. All these, actually, we should not stop outside the prison. It should go inside the prison so that we have a better life, because we are building a better country. And I would always call it for God and my country. God created woman out of the man. So it's not enough to make the man okay and ignore the women. Let's take it at the same time.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time and, of course, the discussion that we have had. Most importantly, I want to thank you, our viewer, those that have been with us from 6:30. Thank you so much. Those that have come on joining along the way, we really appreciate you and never take you for granted. Let's all ensure that we make prisons a better place, because you never know when it may strike and you're there. I just want to remind you, those that have been around or that are good at reading, like I do, that we once had a VIP in this country who was told that people in Uganda don't have blankets. And he said, prison is not a hotel. Now time caught up with him and he was there. And he asked for beddings, he asked for sugar and porridge, and he was reminded of those very words. Let's make prisons a better place. Let's join efforts. Statistics are not doing us very well. You can't have capacity of 21,000 and now you're having 76,000 inmates. We need to do more. For the women, let's ensure that even when they are out, we welcome them. Have a lovely day. God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno katwali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obw'obwiva eno okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wanu. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018 twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira kusani fish farm ni side day dinde twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo dali ena okuva mu operation werese creation era okuba yongereza yatuweebwa okuva Ugachik Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongereza kubimu ku bintu bye tukola gano bebaza government yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga eferi y'abana Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe, free.
In Bushenyi district, we run a number of programs ranging from service delivery to wealth creation. We have the presidential initiative on wealth creation, a Myuga program, where we have 34 circles that have been given funds for the last 2 years, of which each circle received 33 million and only 2 managed to receive 50 million each. These funds have enabled the different categories of our population to engage into business-related activities, and we can see their incomes getting better. Some of them are into tailoring, others into into carpentry, hairdressing, or mention it. And so far, they are running their enterprises smoothly.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in actual area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 2, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
This PRENO, as the name prescribes, is a project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on killing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood.
Bigirwa Kalisa Samuel is my name, Chief Administrator.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Ratified the Chemical Weapons Convention. Our cooperation with the OPCW was always ideal. In 2017, we have destroyed our chemical weapon arsenal that we inherited from the Soviet Union before schedule, but recently everything went down. The reason is the desire by some Western countries, led by the United States, to change the international law with their own, to replace it with their own made-up rules. They try to force this organization some
functions that shouldn't be, and it's damaging the functions that it should have. So it's damaging the functions that security councils should have. And America and its allies are trying to privatize the Organization of Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, and they are trying to turn it into a tool to implement their geopolitical agenda. And despite the fact that our cooperation with Technical Secretariat is going through a difficult period,
I wouldn't really want to say that we have reached a point of no return in our relations, because OPCW is an important platform where we can stand for our interests, where we can express our views regarding the current events. And Russia addressed the Director General of the OPCW with the suggestion to send experts, so that Russian experts also participated and investigated what happened to Navalny, so that they could see whether any crime was committed, so to see if any criminal investigation is necessary.
Do you feel that we've reached the point of no return when it comes to relations between Russia and the OPCW? Is there any saving the situation?
As I have already said, I don't really think that we have reached the point of no return, because this platform is very important so that we could express our point of view regarding the current events, so that we could open the eyes for many other delegations, because some of our partners are being